Hey everybody, what's going on? I'm one of your guests tonight, TriForce Johnson. I'll be joined with Billy Mitchell and your host for the 2021 nominations for the International Video Game Hall of Fame, Todd Friedman. Just hang tight, everybody. We're getting some things ready. Give people enough time to populate both the Twitch and the YouTube streams, and we'll get right to it. See you in a bit. Hey Tom, what's going on? And name, what's up going on with you guys as well? If you guys have any questions before the show start, feel free to ask them. I can help you guys out with any questions while we continue to get ready. Hey Jared and Evelyn, what's going on, guys? And got Conky Dong. What's going on with you guys over there on Twitch. Let me go check over on YouTube. We have Wendy, Robbie Lakeman. What's going on, man? Todd is in the room. Okay. Hey, what's going on, Robbie? Hey everybody, we still got a couple more minutes left. We're just waiting for a few key things to be done. We should be ready in about 5 more minutes. What you guys could do as we get into the show, because we're going to be taking a lot of you guys' suggestions and stuff like that. Remember, this is the nomination process. We're going to go over, well, Todd will tell you all the details, but pretty much we're going to be going over our opinions on who should be nominated to what category this year, and we'll also be taking some input from you guys as well. This is something we've never done in the past on previous streams with when it was just me and Todd. There was no stream last year, obviously due to the condition of the world, but this year we decided to get back at it, as the world's opening up back slowly again. So we definitely want you guys, your opinions to weigh in on the matter. And these nominations will be heavily suggested and taken into account. Then we'll let you guys know how you can actually do your actual nominations. And then you'll get the official inductees when the committee is done going through the process with everyone. So hang tight. Okay, guys, what's going on? We are back. We have Billy Mitchell and Todd Friedman in the house. Take it over, Todd.
Everyone, thank you for joining. I'm really excited to talk about this year's nomination categories, as well as some history of the Video Game Hall of Fame. Wanted to wish everyone a happy Mother's Day out there who are joining, and thank you for joining on this holiday. So this is kind of, going to be like a laid back podcast. We're just going to go over what the nominations are, what categories there are, and give our opinions on what we think, some of the people who haven't been nominated should be nominated. Some people who haven't got in yet possibly should be. But this is not a stream to decide who's in the Hall of Fame. This is just the nomination categories to just to get opinions from the public. And if you want, I will mention this many times in the podcast, but if you go to the website of IVGHOF, IVGHOF.info, INFO, you can post your nominations live while we're talking, and you can submit them through the website. So you can do it after the podcast, you can do it during, it's up to you, but we want as many nominations this year as possible. Before I get to Billy and TriForce, I just wanted to go over a little of the history here. Basically, what happens here, and this has been going on for the past 2 or 3 years, is we have a nomination committee, which I'm part of. A lot of members of the Hall of Fame inductees are part of this nomination committee. And once the nominations are submitted, which the deadline is May 15th of this year, so another 6 days to put your nominations in. Once we get a list of the nominations, the nomination committee narrows it down to about 4 or 5 in each category. So it's a 3-4 step process. It's definitely thought out. There's many things we do to consider who gets inducted. It's not just a point and click, put someone in. We definitely take time and hard work to get this done. So before I go into the nominations and the history, I just wanted to introduce Billy Mitchell, and he can give you his little point of view of the Hall of Fame.
Very good. Thank you, Todd. I appreciate it. Well, the Hall of Fame, from its beginning around 2010, it has evolved. And I always say the exact process on how things were done, the exact process of how they're being done now. I often hear people say, I don't understand how this happens, or I don't understand how that happens. And it's very much modeled after the Baseball Hall of Fame. And there are several steps and several layers, just as you indicated, Todd, that there's really not any one individual thing that impacts whether somebody goes in the Hall of Fame or not.
Exactly.
Again, following the other Hall of Fames that are successful, I always use baseball as an example. Obviously, talent is a major factor. If you look up or you were to research baseball, it's actually not the major factor. The most major factor, they say, is sportsmanship, and second is contribution to the game or the hobby, and then third is ability. And of course, they look for all of those, but any one of those could impact you more or less, because all too often, I mean, I could sit here and I could run down a list of people. Todd, every one of them deserves to be in the Hall of Fame.
Sure.
And some are in and some are not. And some that are not in will be in. And this year, you could come up with 10 names of people all in the same category. We should throw them all in there.
Yeah,
but there's a process that's so tedious. And I mean, all my respects to you, because I'm glad I don't have to do it. But that process and those levels and those steps are very tedious. And I constantly, my heart goes out to people that I think should be in there. And I go, geez, not that they should have went in, but the person who did go in that category truly deserved to go in. It's kind of like, you'd like to do something for everybody who deserves it, and you can't at the moment, but their day and time comes, of course. And so the public's participation in order to weigh that heavily is far more important than they think. And it's, again, following the example of other Hall of Fames, the public you make your voice heard, and it all gets considered. you don't necessarily see or hear it get considered. But I've seen the process, going on for, as much as 10 years now. Believe me, it truly does get heard. And that's why we're here, and that's why we're talking today, is to make sure that everybody participates in any way they can in order to help mold exactly what's going to happen this year.
Yeah. Thanks, Billy. And then TriForce, you've been inducted into this Hall of Fame as well as presented a few people into the Hall of Fame. So what's your experience with the International Video Game Hall of Fame?
Well, I am just happy that this even exists. I'm happy to be a part of something that was a whole generation before me. So I do everything that I possibly can to keep it going. It's like the torch is being passed down to the next generation. So I'm a lot older now versus back then when I saw you guys in Time magazine and stuff like that. So just being here is an honor, and it's a service. Jerry told us from the Hall of Fame that each person inducted into the Hall of Fame serves as an ambassador to the history and the legacy of what the Hall of Fame stands for, which goes all the way back to the video game capital of the world, which is Ottumwa, Iowa. You guys know where this all started from. And you know the games. That's literally why this background even exists. What you're looking at is the foundation. That's the backbone. Those streets right there, that street in Ottumwa, Iowa, that's the bricks, the literal foundation of what this is all about. And you guys are the people that were there before me. So I'm the generation after, and whatever I can do to help and represent as an ambassador for the International Video Game Hall of Fame is what I'm going to do to help keep this going, so that the next generation after me and the generation after that and the generation after that can keep this tradition going. That's all I have to say about that. So let's see
Yep.
who gets. Let's see who our thoughts are. Who should be in for the
Well, if
2021
we,
nomination?
if you play off of what Triforce just said, the people that you think of for the Hall of Fame, the people you would nominate, understand, or the people who hope to get nominated, understand that you're taking on a responsibility. You're accepting a responsibility that you would become an ambassador of the Hall of Fame. You would be someone who would push, promote, and try to put as much goodwill forward as you can, because you've become a part of something. So that's a level of responsibility. And I try to keep that in mind whenever I sit here and try to encourage somebody, or say, gee, I hope this person gets nominated, or I hope that person gets nominated, or I hope this person ultimately gets chosen, is there's a level of responsibility that comes with it. And if you do things correctly, it is something that should weigh on your shoulders. It should be a burden that you carry, that you're actually happy to carry, if that makes sense.
Oh, absolutely.
Definitely.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. Yeah. And Triforce, you were very honored enough to induct Reggie from Nintendo a couple of years ago. How was that experience for you?
That was a big shock. I did not think that was going to happen. I'm so happy it happened, but that was a big shock. I know some people like, 'cause, some people always have conspiracy theories to some stuff like that. But I was when you guys came to me and you said we have a surprise for you, we'll let you know. I was into it getting ready. I thought it was like, I was like, I probably get Community Action Award. That's what I was
Well, why
actually
did
thinking.
Triforce, when Reggie was nominated or chosen from the nominees, why were you shocked? Don't you think Reggie deserves it?
No, no,
No,
no.
he was
It's
shocked. He
yeah.
got.
I was
Oh no,
shocked that
I'm picking on Triforce, and I'm hoping Reggie one day hears this podcast and hears me picking on Triforce about Reggie.
Yeah.
I was just, it was crazy when you guys was like, okay, so Triforce, we want you to present, Reggie's induction. That was one, that's gonna be one of my top three greatest honors ever,
Sure.
because Reggie is like, for everything that I am in gaming in the last 20 years, that all came from him, and just being
Oh
able
yeah.
to work with him and Nintendo of America, and all the launches that I've done, and all of the promotions that I've done in the gaming and stuff like that, and things for the community, even passing the torch, all of that, it could not have been possible if not for Reggie's ability to he was like the bridge. He's going to be one of Nintendo's greatest presidents ever in their history because
No, I
you know
can no, I can play off that because obviously I've been close to Nintendo for as long as I can remember. And I mean, without lying to you, when I learned Reggie was going in, I thought, oh, that's great. And before I could say anything, I mean, I learned that TriForce was doing the presentation. Okay, think about it. I mean, I won't lie to you. I'm here to tell you the truth. I was jealous. I was like, oh man, I wish I was doing Nintendo. Again, having had such a relationship with them going all the way back to the early 80s. So no, I can understand what he's saying. And the other one is it's awesome to get chosen. It's awesome to go up there and accept the nomination and have somebody speak on your behalf. That's awesome. But after that, when you go up, as TriForce did, when you go up and you speak of somebody and you announce them and they come and they accept their nomination, for example, I'm thinking back when I had that great experience, but it was awesome for me when Tim Balderramos got inducted into the Hall of Fame and I was the one to be up there to announce him and for him to come up. You know, it's a greater level of satisfaction. And you don't realize it until you're there doing it. You know, what an honor it is. It's truly awesome.
Oh, sure. And what I thought was cool too, and what we've done this year is the people who can't make it to the ceremonies in the past, like Reggie, who obviously couldn't make it to the live ceremony, he sent in which you can see on the screen, a taped acceptance speech. And what I thought was cool, TriForce, is he thanked you in his acceptance speech. And I thought that must have been a cool honor to be a part of that.
That was seeing it was like that was a two-pronged thing because I'm like, oh good, I get to induct him into the Hall of Fame. Well, there is an acceptance speech. I get to announce his acceptance speech as he's being inducted into the Hall of Fame, but then in his induction speech he thanks me for it. So I was like, oh, you guys set me up properly. You guys really did set me up
we
properly.
surprised you on that one.
So, but see that goes back to exactly what I said. Now you can understand why I was jealous.
Yeah, I was so excited to.
No, it was a great moment.
Yeah. So for those who don't know, Reggie was inducted for the Walter Day Lifetime Achievement Award category, and we'll go over the categories throughout this podcast and these Twitch streams individually. But Reggie was nominated for the Walter Day, or inducted for the Walter Day Lifetime Achievement Award. Before we get into all the categories, I just want to go over a few things, just a little quick history. The International Video Game Hall of Fame was started in 2010, which was basically the first ceremony that we had in Ottumwa. Actually, that was in Ottumwa. So there was many people, including Billy Mitchell, who were inducted in 2010, and the goal was to do one every year, and basically make it grow and get bigger and bigger every year. But for reasons unknown and many different pieces that didn't fit, we weren't able to do the ceremony for another 4 or 5 years. So during that time, we created a new committee of new people, and we had some ambassadors and we had some chair people and everything to make it official. And we started doing the induction ceremonies again in 2015. So basically, we're about 4 or 5 years into the ceremonies and in the induction process. So not everybody you can think of has been inducted, but we do have a catalog of names that people who nominated for the last 4 or 5 years who are still eligible to be into the Hall of Fame. They will be put into the mix of people who can be submitted. So if your nomination does not get inducted in the class of 2021, it will still be good for another 4 or 5 years to get inducted. So, just because you may not see the person you wanted in there, it'll still be a possibility in the future. Obviously, we can only induct a certain amount of people per category. So that's why we do it that way. We're excited this year. For those who don't know, we are going to have the induction ceremony at the Pinball Expo in Schaumburg, Illinois. We're going to change it up a little and and get out of the Ottumwa, Iowa part of it for many reasons. One is basically, this is a weird year. Obviously, we didn't have a ceremony last year because of COVID, but COVID is still on the brinks. And we wanted to get as many people as we could to be a part of the ceremony and a part of this induction process. So the Pinball Expo, who is going to have their expo this year in October, the weekend of the 27th through the 30th, we thought that was the perfect venue to do our ceremony. And we will hope to see everyone there. It's a big expo. We're going to have a lot of vendors, a lot of things to do, a lot of tournaments, a lot of celebrities, and of course the ceremony. So, so now we'll go into the categories. Anything really quick, Billy, TriForce, you want to say before we go over all the different categories?
No, I was just going to say that from what the inside track that I hear everyone talking about the Hall of Fame is, Chicago's the first step. And the idea is, if things go well, you'll begin to introduce the Hall of Fame to various parts of the country throughout many different, very respected conventions that have been around a while. It's kind of a testing ground,
right?
Because although the home base or the original beginnings were in Ottumwa, Iowa, I mean it's more than nationwide. It's a worldwide community that you're trying to draw into.
Oh, for sure. And like you said, if it does go well, our goal is to travel with the ceremony, go to different places, different countries, because not only are the inductees from the United States, but there's inductees from other countries. It's worldwide. You don't, obviously, the International Video Game Hall of Fame, you don't have to nominate someone from the States. So our true goal is to travel around and be able to do ceremonies in the hometowns of other countries and other areas around the world. So
hence the name international.
go ahead. Right. Exactly. So I'm reading the chat as well. If you're in the chat and you want to post any questions for Billy or TriForce or I, or you want to, while we're going through the categories, you can throw in your nomination that you think should be in it. And for those who just joined or joined a little later, you can nominate your gamers or games live right now on the IVGHOF.info website. If you go to IVGHOF.info, you can go to the submission tab, and it'll give you all the categories, which we'll go over, as well as the submission sheet. You click submit, you'll get an email saying your nomination has been submitted. It's as easy as that.
Yeah, I think the actual idea of Chicago came about because Rob Burke at the Chicago Pinball Show, the longevity he has, the respect he has as a convention is amongst the greatest of the conventions. And what I mean is, I believe it was 2 years ago, I was in Chicago and I presented to Rob Burke and Walter too, on behalf of Guinness, a Guinness Award, because they are the longest running continuous convention at 37 years.
Yep.
So
this is their 38th year. Yep.
Yeah. So when something has that much longevity and a reputation that well, that's something that you want to latch onto. So I mean, I guess maybe I'm saying something kind about Rob Burke here. I mean, my hat's off to him, but it's just it's really cool that he has embraced the Hall of Fame, and now the Hall of Fame has an opportunity to not only has it supported his success, like I said, we gave him the award on behalf of Guinness, but now he has the opportunity to return it, and he's gracious enough to do that. So that's really, really awesome.
Oh,
we have another Hall of Fame inductee. In fact, same class as me, and Chris Tang is actually in the chat. Boom. There's Tetris.
Oh, hey, Chris. Oh, yeah, there's Chris. Hey, Chris. Yeah. Chris, actually, he did a cool introduction for Tetris the game as well. So he was accepting or presenting the acceptance speech for Maya, who is part of the Tetris team, and that was kind of an honor for Chris to do that, as well as obviously being inducted into the Hall of Fame. Okay, so we can chat during the stream in between categories, but we should just go ahead and start. It's a 90-minute program, so we want to make sure we cover all the categories. Any questions, again, Billy and TriForce will be looking at this chat as well as I, and we can try to help you out. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to go over our personal take on who should be nominated, and maybe some of the people who have been inducted, and just talk a little history. And I will, kind of let the public know some of the people who have been nominated already. So we will start from the website. We're going to start from the top, and we're going to talk about the Golden Age Gamer. Now, the Golden Age Gamer, we have for now, because every year the Golden Age gets bigger and bigger, we're covering the dates of 1970 through 1989. So you got a good chunk of people, game designers. You have definitely a lot of people who Billy probably has played with in the early 1980s and mid 1980s. So let's start with you, TriForce. Who comes to mind when you think Golden Age Gamer that has not been inducted already?
Someone that has not been inducted already. See,
yeah, and I can go over some. I can let you know who's been inducted in the past. I mean, if you want to, we can just relive. But like Lonnie McDonald, the Joust world record holder, he's been inducted. So that that was a good one. We got where did it go? Oh, sorry, I was clicking on the wrong one. So in 2017, Rebecca Heinemann, she was a National Space Invaders champion, as well as Michael Klug, who is known for world records in pole position and other retro games in the past. So those are some of the inductees. Last year, where we didn't have a ceremony, Don Newart was inducted, who was on the national video game team in the late 1980s. So those are some of the inductees.
Well,
so this is okay. So Sushi X from EGM, who was also on the U.S. national video game team, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know Jeff Peters got in, but I don't know if he got in.
No, not at the no.
Wow. Okay.
Not at the present time. Yeah.
So now
he would be a good nomination.
Todd, I was going to explain something that's kind of controversial.
Okay. All right, go on.
We can.
Well, no. What happened was, for years I heard, and he was totally deserving. Okay, but I kept hearing, well, how come Don Hayes isn't in there?
Yes.
And I said, before I could answer, he should be in there. Well, okay. And before I could answer, finally I said, will you give me a chance to speak? Yeah. And I go, of course he deserves to be in there. This was before he was inducted, 2 years ago. And I said, of course he deserves to be in there. I says, but everybody else who went in there deserves to be in there as well. But Don's situation was unique because although he plays games, classic games from the 1980s, he didn't step on the scene until the year 2000.
Right.
So what happened was he wasn't competing for a spot as a game player in the 1980s. He was competing in the year 2000.
Right.
A time when there were first-person shooters and different people, Justin Wong, and people who obviously deserved it as well. And there was actually some confusion in the vote, and people were voting for him in the wrong category. And I kept saying to people, listen, I support Don just like you do. Be patient and keep pushing, the cart in his favor. And then finally it did come through. But that's kind of an example of how it can be complicated. Although he plays classic games, he didn't step on. Nobody really met him as a player until we were at Fun Spot in the year 2000.
Right.
And of course, he certainly deserves it. He certainly made his mark. He, like everybody, the day he got in, he should have got in before, like everybody should have. But it finally did happen, and of course, it was awesome. All three of us were there to see him and appreciate it. But that kind of goes back to the importance of participating in the nomination, just like you were talking about in the beginning.
Oh,
which is why which is why Sushi X needs to get in. He actually needs it because it's not just because of his ability. It's not because of his achievements being on a U.S. national video game team. It's not because of his ability. It's not just because of his ability as a gamer, but what he contributed to the actual scene as a whole, not only the community, but the industry, the developing industry of the video game scene as a well, actually, it would be an editor for EGM. That's
Correct.
people don't understand like how huge EGM. Anyone, all of us
Yep.
remember Gamers Republic, EGM, Game Pro magazine. We all know about those magazines. It's no different.
Nintendo Power. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
tips and tricks and replay. We all know about those guys, and that's why I'm like, how is he not in yet?
Mhm.
There was one other
No.
person I had in mind, but like Billy said, he did not come on into the scene until the 90s. So I'm gonna hold him off, but
Okay.
my pick is Sushi X.
But like
Okay.
you're saying, Sushi X, his sportsmanship, number one factor, is tremendous. His contribution is even greater. And now the fact that he has the ability as a game player, again, like you say, he's a shoo-in, but he holds every qualification. If he just played games, if he was just good at games, okay, not that he wouldn't be qualified, but he wouldn't be overqualified like he is now.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Some of the names I'm looking at who have been nominated in the past but have not been inducted. There's, I think he was. So there's Kelly Tharp. There's John Klinkle, Jack Gale.
Oh my gosh!
Doris.
Again, every one of those deserve to.
Yeah.
Jack Gale. Wait, time out. Jack Gale didn't get in. I could have swore he got in 2010.
We'll check.
I think you swore wrong.
I don't think he did. No, because I was there. No, he was not. No,
and it's funny. I know Jack personally. I mean, I grew up with him in the arcade, in the exact arcade. So I mean, I'd pick on him now. I'd say,
actually,
Jack, come on, Jack. You keep pushing. I don't mean to sound funny, but if you try and fail and give up, well, then you don't deserve to be in there.
Yeah.
You know, so I'll pick on him when I talk to him. No, he's a great guy and a great player.
Yeah. No, he has not been inducted.
You know something? He was inducted?
No, he's not. No,
he was not. Well, then you know when he was. Okay, so 2010 was IVGHOF's International Video Game Hall of Fame, but this is a little history that a lot of people don't know. In 2009, pre-Big Bang, Walter Day had a Twin Galaxies International Video Game Hall of Fame, which was like the precursor that led into the Big Bang.
Yeah, like a launch.
Yeah, it was like the launch. Fatality, Jack Gale, Billy. It was a bunch of. I have all their plaques that were in my house. I literally have all their plaques. And they were all on the wall.
Which was
and
separate than the Hall of Fame. Yeah.
Yeah, that's separate from the Hall of Fame. That's where I'm getting. Like, didn't Jack Gale get picked? Because I have his actual poster that Walter made from him. But yeah, that would be good if he got it.
Oh yeah, yeah. In 2010, there was quite a bit of people inducted, but there was different categories back then. So most of them were called competitive gamer category, and we didn't really have them in generation different eras. So that there was a lot of different people from different generations that were inducted, but they were all under one category. So now we have them spread out into different into different eras. Okay, I'm trying to read the chat. There's a lot of people asking questions. Okay, so on a side note, Billy, how do you get hot sauce in Canada? Is that possible?
No.
Okay.
Absolutely not. We don't ship to Canada for obvious reasons.
Okay, so there you go. Who asked that question? All right, so let me go back to my list here. Okay.
Wait a minute. I just noticed something.
Yeah.
I just noticed something. Can Sushi X be nominated as Sushi X, or do people need to know his actual name?
We kind of go over all the nominations and we find the real names and stuff, but either or. You can put the
all right. Well, just to let it be known,
yeah.
it's Ken Williams for anyone who doesn't know. So.
Yes.
But I just like
Yeah.
calling him Sushi X. It's a cooler name.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of people know him by that name actually when they see him in person. So.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's funny. All right, so let's go to the 1990s gamer. This is 1990 through 99. Video game players' accomplishments occurred primarily within the era of the 1990s. Now, this is a big category. There's been a lot of nominations for this category, but only one or two each year can get inducted. So in the past, for the 90s gamers, we go here. I got two screens, guys. Sorry about that. So Chris Tang was a 1990s inductee in 2016. That was the year TriForce was inducted, I believe. 2017. Let's see who we had in 2017. Oh, Chris Ira. Billy, I think, knows that guy.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, vaguely.
Was inducted in 2017. 2019 was Ryan Hart. I believe TriForce, Ryan.
Yeah, he's out of
Definitely
UK.
Big competitive gamer. And then we'll go to last year. The 1990s gamer was Tomo Ahiro. And that's the number one Street Fighter player in the 90s. Well deserved. Excellent Street Fighter. Yeah. So who's on your mind, TriForce, for the 90s?
My idea for the 90s, he has missed his induction twice. Abner Ashman. When is he getting in? That's all I have to say. When is he getting in?
No. You're wrong. No. You're wrong.
Okay. So all right, then here's a question now. Here's a question, Billy.
No.
When did he start playing to be recognized? 80s or 90s?
Correct. You are correct. He did not step on the scene. Although he's great at the games he is, although he's deserving, although he should have been there like so many others, although I want to see him there, he first came to be known in the 2000s, just like Don Hayes.
Okay.
I think it was 2000, 2001 or 2, there at Fun Spot. And it sounds funny. I mean, he's from I don't know where he's from. He's from New York. He's from Brooklyn. I don't know where he's from. And we would hear about this guy who was really good at stuff. And I heard about this guy, but I don't know where to find him. And then our friend says, I was at the arcade he was at, but I couldn't get to where he was. Oh, I saw him, but I couldn't talk to him. Oh, I talked to him, but he didn't hear me. I mean, it's like we were being teased forever and ever and ever about this guy that would do great scores. But we finally came to meet him after the year 2000. So if I understand correctly, Todd, because that's when he stepped on the scene. I mean, it doesn't matter if he played Pong. Right. Because he stepped on the scene in the year, let's just say 2000. So he would be in the 2000 category, and that's where he would be. He couldn't be qualified to be in the 80s category. He wasn't around.
No.
So
and that's what we
do.
Yeah, and that's what we do as the nomination committee is we do some vetting and going back and saying, well, is this person really should be in this era? If not, well, we should move him where he should be. So we do try to make it more exact of where they should be, even though they were nominated in an earlier category.
No, and for that to be understood is helpful because Abner might have his votes divided into different categories, and he'd be a lot stronger candidate if they were all in one category, obviously.
Well, and I'm looking at the 1990s so far, the inductees, and it's a small list. So if you guys are out there, I would submit your nominations. You have till May 15th. You can go to IVGHOF.info, IVGHOF.info, and submit your 1990s gamer. Because right now I'm looking at the list. There's not that many, and this is a big category. So we need some nominations out there.
Could you go over that list? Because I don't. Outside of Abner, I would have to take the time to go research and see who's some unknown deserving player that deserves to be in, because there's a lot of those, and it's terrible. Like, I believe the IVGHOF really needs to start for the 1980s and 1990s. They gotta get 3 people in per time, because there's so many. It's ridiculous.
Well, I know initially what people were saying was, and again, I believe we misjudged it, but way back when we began this, people were saying, well, we need to nominate twice as many people in the older category, in the classic category, than in the newer category, because the classic category has to play catch up. And they're not doing that anymore. It's more evenly divided. But as I look at the chat here, as Dan says, he says, does playing in that era matter? So I think you should take an extra second, Todd, to explain how you guys do the vote and how people are voted based upon an era, and it can divide their votes. It can make it more difficult for somebody who's otherwise deserving.
Yeah.
But based upon the comment here, I think you should explain that a little further.
Yeah. So basically, like I said before, we have a nomination committee, but we also have a vetting committee, and we go over all the nominations. We have a team that goes through them, and we look up what their world records were. We looked at some of the awards they've won. We've looked at how many times they've played a certain game in a certain era. We make sure that it's accurate. We go through them one by one. It's a tedious process, but we want to make sure it's legit. And like you said, Don Hayes, that's a toughie because he was nominated in different categories, and we had to choose one. And so we did a lot of vetting on that, and that became the 2000s category. But it doesn't mean that he should be deserving for 90s or earlier. But yeah, so it's like lots of Hall of Fames out there. Some people agree, some people disagree who should get in over other people. But like I said, we go over pretty solid. We have lots of meetings to decide who should be a part of it. Now, for those who may not know as well, the nomination and the vetting committee, we just get the top people who are nominated. We go over the vetting, we go over different things. That's kind of the process in a nutshell, but there's a lot more behind the scenes than people realize.
Oh, wait a minute. You see Chris's comment? This is so true. Dr. Disrespect. How,
Mark,
1990s?
The Blockbuster champion would be good to debunk that once and for all.
You know something? I'll take that. I'll take Dr. Disrespect. Good stuff, Chris. I'll take that. I'll back that.
There you go. Yeah, Chris, go ahead and submit that nomination.
I will back that nomination.
Yeah. So another thing I also want to just throw out there, we don't try to publicize it. We don't try to just beat it down, but we do. The Hall of Fame is pretty much self-funded, and right now we're trying to get donations, get people to help out, so we can make the Hall of Fame even bigger and better every year. So if you feel like donating, and it's not required, but if you'd like to donate, you can do that from the home page on the International Video Game website. There's a donate button, and any little thing helps. And we get different awards every year depending on the finances. We get different, we set up the stages. I don't know, TriForce put up last year's acceptance speeches. If we saw, we had banners in the background for the inductees. So we're getting bigger and better every year. But with COVID and last year not having the ceremony, obviously we took a little hit, and so we're almost having to start from the beginning. But like I said, any donation is accepted.
No, and in addition to that, when there's a convention, when you go there, when you see the Hall of Fame, when you're supportive, when you speak of them, when you come on a chat, when you participate, when you push the pendulum in their favor, that's a way of showing support. Even if you can't travel somewhere, if you can't donate, any way you can. I mean, if we want to talk nice about somebody, Todd, for example, Mike Klug, he always finds a way to contribute in his own way, all the time.
Yeah,
and
great guy.
Every one of us look forward to seeing him. He's a real creative guy, and he says, "Oh, gee, I got a way of getting this," or he made some awesome pins, and
I was just going to say,
and then they just show up, and it helps with the brand identity. I know Carrie was really supportive, and there's a number of people.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we also do have we also do have a video game Hall of Fame museum that's in the works, and it's been there every year, but we're we're making it bigger and better. And there's a lot of artifacts from different gamers and Walter and other people from Atumwa who have donated things for the museum as well.
Well, I just want to say something. So Chris is saying that Dr. Disrespect isn't the actual blockbuster champion. It's actually Mark.
Oh, okay.
I don't know how to pronounce the last name. Is that Genuine? What Genuine?
Yeah.
Genuinan? I think that's his last name.
Gwynane.
Yeah, Gwynane.
Gwynane.
Oh, Gwynane.
Yeah.
Okay, so Mark Gwynane.
But I
Sorry.
kind of get a kick out of that. Okay, somebody talks about Dr. Disrespect. Okay, in order to give him the respect of speaking of him, you know, in different ways he's qualified and how he should be considered and all that. And then somebody manages to play and play so well that they go a little bit ahead of an awesome score by Dr. Disrespect. So what do? Oh, yeah, no, he's not the champion. He doesn't have the high score. Yeah, put that guy out the pasture, man. We shouldn't even be able to say his name. Well, of course we should. World records are made to be broken, and everybody's contribution, and it doesn't just come by score. If the Hall of Fame was only based upon score, that would be lousy. That's why we keep talking about all the people in the Hall of Fame and how they contribute. We don't have very many bad apples, except maybe one on the phone here with TriForce. No, I'm just kidding.
Well,
No.
here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. See, this is why you have to do your research, because I didn't even know. Chris is saying that there was an entire Netflix documentary that debunked it. Now I have to go find this documentary and go
Yeah, see,
find
that's
out
the
what
tricky part.
the history is for. So now I'm still stuck. I
Yeah.
don't have anyone for 1990 now.
Yeah. So that's the tricky part nowadays with technology and YouTube, and you got to figure. Part of the vetting is figuring out what's real, what's not real, and making sure that it's legit.
Well, somebody just sent me a message that said there's not been enough people nominated from the Southern Hemisphere. What do you think of that?
Oh, well, I guess that is true. I guess I haven't thought of that.
Wait, time out. Not enough people nominated from where?
From the Southern Hemisphere.
Yeah.
Oh, the Southern Hemisphere. Yeah. The Metroid boys. There's some guys down there.
Yeah, or maybe they're talking about somebody in Australia. Okay, we all know our buddy Alan. Yeah. Okay, yes, he's a great guy. Yes, he's a great player. Yes, he contributes. Yes, he's funny. Yes, it's awesome to watch him beat himself over the head with a pot and pan when he doesn't do well. He is supportive of every gamer. He's a positive guy, and I don't know. Maybe he's the Southern Hemisphere's lead horse at the moment. Who knows?
Yeah. He let me go back here. Alan is in the nomination list of non-inductees for the Golden Age Gamer.
Alan is.
So I don't know at this point if that's the era he should be nominated in, but he is nominated for the Golden Age Gamer. Someone nominated him this year. So again, Alan is a great guy. All right. Ooh, I didn't want to do that. Hold on. I went to the wrong tab. All right. So the next one, there was a question in the chat, which I want to come to now because we're in the 2000s gamers. And Jared from the chat asked, does this include every year in the year 2000? And I would have to say at this point it does. And that includes 2000 through 2021. And eventually, very soon, we are going to have to bundle it into 2000 to 2010 or 2010 to 2020, because obviously that's how we're doing the other years. But for now, including this year and last year, we're doing the whole, 2000 century. So it could be someone this year, it could be someone from back in the 2001, anywhere. But this is a big category. There is a lot of gamers nominated for this. Obviously, it covers a big, broad era. But I mean, this is a tough choice because there's so many nominations. It's tough to choose one or two. So, who comes to mind, Billy, for the year 2000 to now?
Well, because of barcades, because of movies, because of events and conventions that happened, there's a tremendous amount of people who played games in what we'll call the classic years. And either they didn't play them to their full potential and now they are, or they played them, but they just didn't become a part of the competition.
Mhm.
And now they are. So my question to you is, are these people like Alan? I'm looking on the chat. I like Dan. I'm just coming with the names.
Mhm.
Do you nominate them in the 2000s, or do you nominate them in the 80s? Because
Mhm.
you don't want to divide their vote. I'm asking you to clarify for the people, because I guess
Well,
I'm asking for clarity.
yeah. I mean, this is a broad thing. I mean, TriForce was inducted in the 2000s gamer category. There's a lot of esports going on in the last 10, 20 years, and the esports competitors are every bit as eligible to be in the Hall of Fame as an arcade gamer or a console gamer. So, for instance, last year, Tokido Taniguchi was inducted for 2000s gamer. He's one of the greatest fighting game champions of all time. So, like I said, anyone from any different category. So it's tough, You
The
just
thing,
gotta,
the thing here
yeah,
is the problem that I see here is that there isn't enough nominated in a year. You have the
right.
time span, the
Hmm.
time span of the amount of people that played
Hmm.
within the generation, so to speak, or the
Hmm.
decade. So it between you know when esports really started to pick up, all right, so in the beginning you have the 80s, right? There wasn't really much traffic going around, and the only reason why there's so much to nominate from the 80s is because the time and when the IVGOF was built versus 1980, so there's a 30-year spread, so you're really just playing
Hmm.
catch up. But there's a finite amount of people in the 80s that will eventually become nominated at some point in time. Almost everyone deserving, I use the word almost everyone deserving to be in the International Video Game Hall of Fame from the 80s
Hmm.
will be in.
Hmm.
However,
Hmm.
I don't know necessarily about the 90s, maybe the 90s as well, but 2000 till, let's say, 2040, you won't be
Okay.
able, at this rate that we're going, we'll never even make a dent in trying to catch up
Right.
with all the people in if only one person gets in for the last 20 years.
Right. Well, that's
It,
why we're going to have to condense it to like every 10 years, 2000 to 2010, 2010 to 2020, etc.
but
Otherwise, yeah,
but
there's,
then you'll still never catch up if you're only doing one per year. If it was like two or three, okay, let's just give it an example, right? By the time we reach to 2030, 2000 to 2010 will have already been separated. So now you're going to have 2000 to 2010, 2010 to 2020. But then a new 10-year category comes in. We'll still be we'll still be breaking the first 5% of the people in the 2000s. So this
right. Yeah,
cuz like
I understand.
in this 2000, I want to vote Abner Ashman. Right now, this is my
There you go.
personal opinion. So people are going to say Triforce, be partial. I am going to be partial because, and so I'm going to explain why I'm going to be partial about the situation. Right, I have three
Yeah.
nominees to pick from. Right, and it's four actually. I just forgot about on this because within the last 5 years in classic gaming, they have been godlike. Obviously, I want to pick Abner Ashman, right? Next, who's been, let's keep it real, in Donkey Kong, who's been holding it down for Donkey Kong the last 5 years? Robbie, obviously. So you
Not
can't even,
you.
well, obviously not me. Tetris, Jonas passed away. 7-time classic Tetris champion. And he passed away. We'd have to honor his death, not just because for what he's done to help the classic Tetris World Championships, to the accomplishments that he has done. He resurrected a classic game competitively. Like, no offense against any of the other champions in the Tetris ring, but like the man 7 times. So
Right.
and he passed away. So he's one of the greatest Tetris Grandmaster legends that passed away. He's got to get in as well. So you have Robbie, you have Jonas, you have
Right.
Abner, and then who? I forgot the guy's name. This guy who's going around doing Super Mario.
You're talking about the guy who's so deserving. He absolutely has to go in. He's so deserving.
No, no,
You can't remember his name.
no. I forgot because it's a mixture between two guys, right? There's Andrew Garticus for like the speed run for Super Mario Brothers, and the new guy that took
Okay.
the record for Super Mario Brothers on the speed run. So these are four guys, but guess what? Only one can be selected. And if I'm gonna pick Jonas just because he passed away and we lost a legend. It's like with Joel West. When you lose a legend, you look at their contribution
Right.
and it's heavily weighed in favor of anyone else because they're
Right.
gone now.
If I can step in on you for a
Mhm.
second in TriForce to emphasize what you say, because when nominations are made, when votes are cast and things are tallied, you would think, and it's not true with any Hall of Fame, the person with the most votes gets in. No, there's a lot of factors that go on here, and the people who look at this are human. And my point is, you're saying that you're human. There's a bit of sentimental attitude in you that this guy passed on, and you want to make sure he gets in. And you're correct, okay, because you're human. By the same token, I'm saying to everybody who's listening here, okay, I'm going in past years, when there's a certain category and there's the person highest in the category who's only one vote ahead or two votes ahead of the person of someone else, it is not uncommon that one goes instead of the other, and you scratch your head and you wonder why. They're both deserving. But sometimes, again, the people who look at this, they're human. This person, they have the spirit, they want to be in there, they talk about it, they're supportive, they're going to be there to be in the induction, they're going to show up, they're going to get their award, they're going to be an ambassador, they're going to pass on the baton, okay, they're going to carry the spirit of the Hall of Fame. Yes, that person, just because everybody's human, in the final votes or in the final decisions, can get more support than somebody who's one or two votes ahead, who simply is one or two votes ahead, who doesn't have all of those other qualifications, because the contribution to the hobby or sport, the sportsmanship, is at least equally as important as the ability. So I know I wanted to step in on you because you were touching upon that, you were touching upon the fact that we're all human and we look at it and we look even beyond people's ability. What is it that this person is making an effort for? What will this person bring in the future? This person does a lot of scores. Oh, but his score got beat last year. So what? It's going to get beat again. As a matter of fact, some of the people that are considered for the Hall of Fame, some of the people that are chosen as nominees, by the time they accept their nominee there in Chicago, their scores will get beat.
This is true.
It's a big factor.
That's true. And to answer Julie's question, she said that Jonas was nominated for both, right? And here's why I would say Jonas would get the nod for not the Community Action Award. So if I had I'm I'm stuck with the choice of picking between Robbie and Jonas. I'm gonna pick Jonas over Robbie because Robbie is alive. He can get it next year. You see the thing here. He's gone. He it's not that he can't get it next year neither, but because time goes by, as humans, it's not a bad thing. We do forget at times. Time will go on. People will do great things, and someone else will do something so great in the 2000s ever that we may not remember who we lost, and then that person gets in, and then it probably 2 3 years down the line someone remembers, hey yo, something has a great happen in Tetris, and then it's brought back up, and then the person gets in. So I couldn't with the clear conscious. Abner is alive. Robbie's alive. The Mario guys are alive. These people are all alive. They live to compete for another day. Jonas doesn't. He's gone. So I'm forced, because he's gone, I'm forced to say, nah, I gotta vote him in for this year. Because I know Robbie's gonna be around. Somebody gonna try to take Robbie's record. Robbie's gonna come back and smack him, take it back, and then we're gonna be back in this situation next year. Trust me.
Okay, you're speaking of Jonas, right?
Yes.
maybe that's an example, but give me another example in that same area. Again, people who are great players, great participants, people who lay a foundation. They lay a foundation, and don't pick Walter Day or something like that. They lay a foundation, and it's on that foundation that other people establish a footprint, and they take it to a greater level, okay? And the level of greatness that they push, maybe we're talking about Tetris, the level of greatness they push is awesome, but the foundation began with somebody else. It's somebody else who created what it was they were able to build upon. Right. The Wright brothers laid the foundation for, the rockets that came later. And I look at different fighting games. I look at Tetris, and I think there's a lot of guys like that. I think there's a lot of guys that deserve to get in. Again, I feel the frustration of different people. There's only so many people at a time. That doesn't mean the people who don't get in are not deserving.
No. You're 100% right. But just to give you a little background on Jonas's history, Jonas isn't.
And TriForce, after this, we're going to go to the next category because of time. So we'll let you finish this topic.
So Jonas is not just the 7-time Tetris Classic champion. If you read what Chris Tang is saying, and beyond what Chris Tang is saying, he did for Tetris what you did for Pac-Man and Donkey Kong, Billy. The difference is he's gone.
I see. Well,
you're human, and therefore it makes you push that element even further. Just like I want to say that I know people in Todd's position who have told me that when they're considering a final vote on someone being an inductee, and they know that person has the spirit of the Hall of Fame, they know they're going to be there, and they know they have that spirit in the future. I'm sorry, that does. We're human. It tips the scale in their favor. So play your cards,
Yeah, and we'll leave it up to the public to make the nominations to see who gets in. All right, so based on time, we got to keep moving along. So what I'm going to do is the next category is all the games. So we can kind of bundle this into one just for time purposes. So basically, you got the Golden Age games, 1970 to 89. You got the 1990 eras games, and you got the 2000s games. Now, these, a lot of the big ones have been in, Super Mario Brothers, Pac-Man, Tetris, Pong, all the big ones. But there's so many more games out there that can definitely be worthy of being put in there. 2015 Defender, definitely worthy. Galaga, definitely worthy. So, even Computer Space from the Golden Age. So, in just for time purposes, Billy or TriForce, what's a game that you think should be in the Hall ofAme from any era? Let's just go any era.
All right. Well, like just off the top of my head,
Billy,
what was the first game that had the vector graphics?
Oh,
yeah. I don't know the answer.
There's.
My point is, it wasn't Tempest. What was it? And I don't know. But those.
It was Battle Tank, maybe. Was the arcade Battle Tank? Could be.
Yeah. See how that laid the foundation for games like Tempest that came later? Am I right? Or
that's true. Yeah, I think Battle Tank. Yeah. TriForce, what do you think?
Well, it would have to be.
Battlezone.
It would have to be a game. I'm going to take a page out of Michael Jordan's book. It has to be a game that had the most impact, that changed the scene.
Right.
So,
for example, Fortnite in 2019 was inducted.
Yeah, and although that's questionable, people will argue because they say that game is so new and whatever the case, that and Minecraft and whatnot. I would like to go backwards and get something from back in the days. But Super Mario 64 got in, and that revolutionized Zelda got in. A bunch of these other games that got in. But if I'm gonna pick a game that had the major impact to try, let's take a look at what today's games use in terms of motion movement. what would be the game that first started that?
Like Doom. Well, Doom's already in.
No, no, Doom's already in, but I'm
Oh,
talking about motion sensor
motion.
games. Games that
Jeez.
like um
Oh, I see what you're saying. Like the Wii, like stuff like that.
well then
Motion.
but if
Yeah,
you
yeah.
do that, then you go all the way back down to the Power Glove. And then
Well,
some of
good
those
point. Good point.
some of those games are not well, we're not going to get into
Yeah,
Yeah,
that.
and then you go down to who wore the Power Glove, right?
yeah.
And then
Well, there's
so forth. But I was just
even
using that
NES.
I was just
Yeah,
using that as an example. But if we're gonna pick a game,
yeah.
like if I'm gonna pick a
Hmm.
game within the something that has a major impact. Well, World of Warcraft, the Hall of Fame did a good job getting a lot of like the games that
Yeah,
made massive impact to the scene. So I'm kind of
yeah.
running.
Warcraft was last year. It was inducted last year, 2020.
Yeah, Warcraft. Okay, so Warcraft is in. You
Yeah.
guys, Minecraft
Yep.
got in.
Yep.
Fortnite got in. It's kind of
Hmm.
funny. Call of Duty has never gotten in, and Call of Duty literally is the
It's
is it took the place of Doom. See,
right.
When Doom came out, Doom Doom and Quake conquered the entire 90s when it came to first person shooters. Every other shooters that came out after, there are people who say, well, it came from Castle Wolfenstein, but that's not the point. The point is that those were the staple brand games for that entire decade. But Call of Duty has literally been the staple for military shoot 'em ups for the last 20 years. And it has
But think
been
about but think about how many games fall into that. I mean, again,
a
you're
lot of games
right, but
copy them
what
to
other
that. I tell you that much.
yeah, 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 what I was
Well,
going to say was
yeah.
what other games are so established? I mean, what about Counter-Strike? What about
Right.
Zelda?
Or
I mean, there's
Battlefield. Yeah.
yeah, there's so many games.
Yeah,
It's
that's
like,
dang. You
geez,
said
you can't
Counter
even put
Strike.
your
Yeah.
finger on them all.
Why you have to do that for? That was so unnecessary.
Yeah.
You brought up Counter Strike. Wow. I'm. This is crazy. See, you know what I'm gonna. This is gonna require people to literally go to the site, sit
Yeah.
down, open up a browser, Google.com,
Hmm.
and start researching because you can't
Hmm.
just because there's so few that can get in. You can't just
Hmm.
throw them in just because you feel like it.
Hmm.
So
Well, here's
to
one that
me,
I.
I'd be stuck between Counter Strike and Call of Duty, and probably Counter Strike would go in
Yeah.
before Call of Duty because Counter Strike, what's the name of this game? Valorant. Counter Strike inspired Valorant, and Valorant
Right.
is is the thing right now.
Right. Well, what really quick, and we'll go on to the next one. One thing I see that's nominated, and I think was revolutionary, is Dragon's Lair in the arcade. I mean, that was just,
Okay, it was the
a,
very first Laserdisc game.
yeah, it was very ahead of its time.
So yeah, so it'd be hard to say that didn't lay the foundation for those that followed, right?
Yeah, yeah. So I think that's a good one that I see here on the list.
Wow. Okay.
You think about it. What was the first two-player game? What was the first game that had rotating screens?
Right.
What was the first? What was the first
Robotron.
game that scrolled? Well, I guess first game that scrolled. Yeah. What was the first game that scrolled? I don't know. That would be Defender, which doesn't need a reason.
That's already in. Yeah.
But no.
Yeah. No, there's quite a bit of games out there, obviously. With many
What was the
different-
first? Yeah. What was the first color game?
Ooh, I'd have to look that one up. That's a good
yeah.
point.
I mean, somewhere there's somebody knows all these answers smarter than
Yeah.
we are, but
All right. So I want to get through these categories before we're done. We have the special categories, which are very important to me personally. And we'll start with the Community Action Award. This is basically an award that it could be a group, it could be a person, could be a company that changes people's lives for the better, embodies the spirit of hope, and improves communities. So let's go to like past winners. We go to Extra Life. We all know Extra Life. It's one of the biggest streaming donation companies of the world. It's well deserved. Still goes today. Extra Life started in 2008. Very well deserved. In 2019. I should know these all by heart, right? Doc Mack from Galloping Ghosts. A lot of people, most likely on the stream, know Doc from Galloping Ghosts. Just all he does is work for the community. That's his basis of his whole career and his arcade is making the community happy. Just a swell guy, well deserved. And then last year, all right, for community action was Keisha Howard. I believe TriForce, you know Keisha.
Yeah.
She started Sugar Gamers 10 years ago, and she is just like a revolutionary person for women's gaming, and donates a lot of her time for different outlets. So there's a broad range of people. I know my friends, do a lot of work for the public. So I try to nominate them as I can, but they're not as well known. But what do you think, TriForce?
Okay. Well, in terms of Community Action Award, this is going to come
Yeah.
off very biased
Mm.
because it has something to do with the work that I've been doing. Now,
Mm-hmm.
impact. Like I said, I'm taking a page from Michael Jordan. Impact. Community Action Award are some of the unsung heroes in the scene that you don't even know a
Mm-hmm.
scene exists. What is
Right.
the
That's what I was saying. Right.
what is the last bastion? Um, why did I call it bastion? What is the last region in the world that's catching that's come? I don't want to say coming into games because they've been into
Oh,
games. They just don't.
Triforce. I can jump on you right now. You're getting into your Africa thing now.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
He said it was biased. He said
It's
biased.
biased. Being that I've gone to Africa in the last 3 years, I went back and forth in Africa and watching them grow to even what they just did this year, despite the current condition of the world, right? If you look at what the GGC has done, right? The GGC hosted the Golden Hour 2020 tournament that got postponed last year because of the condition of the world. But then they hosted a 2v2 competition where they got this all happened out of Ghana, and the game was FIFA. And with no sponsors, no support, a band of gamers got together. They were able to produce an entire FIFA tournament for the entire country of Ghana. And it goes further back into 2019, 2018, when myself and the Live Video Game TV went down there to document what they did. And when they got their competitions on network television in Ghana that spread throughout Africa, which was through Kwesi TV. And then we were able to bring down what they did and syndicate it through E Plus TV here in Jamaica. That's in the last 3 years. So once again, this is not some guy who has a world record or anything like this. It's a guy, he loves video games. He plays FIFA. He worked in a TV station. He used the time that he had in the TV station to work with the people who own the television station to give the gamers of Ghana, an entire country, a platform to nationally televise a national championship for FIFA in their country. And this is the last region of the world getting into video games. I would nominate Yuba for the Community Action Award in Africa. And it would also give the International Video Game Hall of Fame a chance to start exploring outside, as you so rightfully said earlier in the show, that there's South America, there's Europe, there's Africa, there's Australia, and there's South East Asia. There's so many other areas. It's not just America. It's not just North America. We have to look beyond to see what these other people are doing, because if not, we'll never get out there. We'll always be nominating all of the people who've done something great in America, and they're deserving too, which goes back to Billy's point. A lot of people are deserving, but it's kind of hard. But I would nominate this year for Africa with Yuba from GGC.
Okay, you're correct. Let me say, Todd, this to me is by far the most difficult category because, okay, you mentioned Doc Mack. It is not possible to think about a community action award without him coming to mind. It's not possible. And if he doesn't come to mind, then you just got your head in the sand, okay? But in addition to that, how do you think of someone, community action award, somebody who has contributed so much to what it is we all do, that it's actually given it direction. How do you not have Todd Tucky come to mind? That's just absurd, you know. Gene Liu. I mean, you can go on and on. You can say, how about Frank Ballou? You could just
Frank
sit here
Ballou,
and
that's
rattle.
crazy. Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, you could just rattle it off, and the Community Action Award is going to go to one person, right? And if you bring it down to the final 10 people, you're going to choose one. Every one of those 9 others can easily be argued that they got cheated.
Right.
You know, it's kind of like life. You only have one life to live, unfortunately, because there's a zillion things you'd like to do.
Well, Billy,
to me, this is the hardest category. Do you take somebody who did that so long for so many years, like the names I mentioned? Do you take somebody who's pushing the cart forward, like you know, TriForce is mentioning? Do you take somebody who's here day in and day out, like we talked about Doc Mack? That's such a hard pick, man. It's really frustrating.
Here's a name I want to throw out who is nominated but hasn't gotten in yet, and I think is deserving, is Richie Knuckles.
Again,
he's done quite a bit for people. His generosity is just insane.
Correct. And so here's what I want to say about this, and this is something that I definitely want to implore to the not only the viewers here, because Julie best said it, guys. You have a lot of people that you guys want to pick, but in order for the committee to create additional spaces for someone to be picked, you guys they have to be bombarded so that they can create extra slots. Because at this rate, 2099 comes, there's still going to be like 500 people who didn't even get into the Hall of Fame that were deserving. Like, seriously, in each category. And actually, it's going to be way more than that, because the output, the input does not match the output. Fewer are going in, more is being born. So the inductions are few, and the nominees just grow. It's just growing at a mass rate. To be very honest with you, this is just my opinion. The Hall of Fame needs to create 3 slots per category. Each year, a new champion is born. You have to think about this per genre. So there's fighting, shooting, puzzle, retro, racing, and each of those guys can all be argued to be great in their deserving genre alone that should be nominated in. Retro game, like Billy just named the first color game, the first vector game, the first disc. He named like 5 different versions of it, and we're only nominating one. The categories have to open up more, because we have to get 2 to 3 in a year, or we're never going to catch up. And it's going to be, people are going to feel like people are getting robbed.
Yeah, it's definitely been talked about, and I appreciate the honesty. A lot of people feel the same way, and it's definitely something we're considering. Nothing's in stone, but we're trying to make it consistent, where you know what you're expecting each year. But we're still, like I said, in the process of making it the most perfect, best Hall of Fame ceremony. Now, TriForce, do you have to go at 8:30 or our time, or do you have a few minutes?
No. Finish it up.
Oh, because we have 3 categories, but I want to talk about, so we don't run out of time, the Walter Day Achievement Award, because I think that's important to discuss. If we miss any of the categories, we don't want to miss that one.
Keep going. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to talk about Walter Day Achievement now, so we can discuss. So this is a big one. This is obviously named from Walter Day, who started this whole gaming crazy, high scores, Twin Galaxies, et cetera, et cetera. He was a big major part of the first 2 or 3 Hall of Fame ceremonies. Just some names out there inducted. Obviously, we talked about Reggie, David Crane from Activision, Steve Wozniak, David Bishop, and Gabe Newell was inducted last year, 2020. You mentioned Billy Todd Tucky. He's on the nomination list, who hasn't been inducted. That's kind of a good one as well.
Yes.
Who else is on here? Gary Stern.
Absolutely.
Very good choice. So really quick, guys, what's a name you can throw out there?
Okay.
Can
I go first, Brett?
Walter Day Achievement,
Oh, TriForce is cutting up.
Billy, can I go first? Sorry. Let me
Do I
just.
have a choice?
Not really, but
Go ahead. Go ahead.
okay.
All right.
Lifetime Achievement Award. I thought this person should have gotten in year 2 or 3. Bob Lawton, Fun Spot.
Oh, wow. Man, now you're tugging at the guilty strings. You're right. You know, what can I tell you? You're right.
That's a good one. Not on the nomination list at all. That's a good one to put in there. All right, Billy, quick name. You got one?
Well, one thing I was going to say was, like you could sit there and say like Doc Mack, but it's a Walter Day Lifetime Achievement Award.
Yeah.
And we're talking about the guys we're talking about. Doc Mack's not old enough. He's not qualified.
Right. Well, let me. I'll read the description for the viewers because this makes a big difference. Based on our Hall of Fame criteria, the Walter Day Lifetime Achievement Award honors individuals that have served the electronic gaming industry over the course of a long career, enriching the industry with their contributions, strong leadership, and creative vision. So for like Doc, he's been doing it 10 years or so now. May not be qualified for that, but yeah, that's kind of what we're looking for in a Walter Day Lifetime Achievement.
The other thing that strikes me is the people whose names you would consider there. For example, we mentioned Todd Tucky.
Yep.
And I don't know how to put this into words, so I'll just give you the example. Anybody on this stream, anybody who's watching, okay, anybody who watches this stream next week or next year, okay, you can walk into Todd Tucky's place and you can talk to Todd Tucky. You don't need an appointment. You don't have to be special. You don't have to be famous. You don't have to have money. You don't have to, anything. He's Todd Tucky. Okay, Gene Lou is like that. Okay, Frank Blue is like that. All these people we talked about. And I think, as you know, Walter Day is like that. I guess I'm given the qualifications that I see that make the person that this award is chosen for, so special. Right. I mean, Gary Stern is like that. Bob Lawton is like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's this category we take very seriously, and we do a lot of soul searching on this to get in the people that the public nominates. Let's move on really quick to game developer. This is an important one as well. People in the past: Brian Colin from Rampage days, Warren Davis, Qbert.
Okay, done.
Yeah. Richard
Brian's
Garriott. In. Yeah, Brian's in. Yeah, he's in. 2019. And then last year, game developer, I should know this too. Will Wright was inducted. No, that's not true. Yeah, 2020. Will Wright was inducted last year. He's responsible for the Sims franchise. Very instrumental in the world of gaming. People nominated this year, possibly. We talked about Don Bluth, Al Lowe. Who else we got here? Scott Adams, Mashiro Sakure. What do you think of that, TriForce?
What about Eugene Jarvis?
Eugene is 2015 inducted. He is inducted. Yep. So is Gary Stern, 2015. They were both inducted in the same year.
Okay.
Very good.
And Hideo.
See, what happens is every year, say in 2015, there's 25 guys that were deserving of this. Yeah. And we don't always remember which one of them made the cut and which ones got, short. Yeah. And we do remember the fact that they all deserve it.
Oh, of course. Yeah. And like I said, like when I do these podcasts, my mind's going 100 miles an hour. So I know these, but I'm trying to, do a good stream. And so my mind's not working as it should. So yeah, definitely all these people are great people. Let's go to one more, and then we can just discuss until time runs out, until we have to go here. But it's industry leader. This category honors the individuals who have inspired growth, vitality, and prosperity of the global electronic gaming industry. So we're talking people who are inducted there. Howard Phillips from the Nintendo days, back in the old days. Nolan Bushnell. Bonnie Ross, Iwata Satoru, very well deserving. Yeah.
Maybe Al Stone from Nintendo.
Yeah, here's some nominations that we got. Leonard Herman, uh, James White's in there. Let's see, Brad Frager, Mike Sepso. I'm not sure. Oh, Jace Hall. Someone nominated Jace.
Mike
George Stanhope.
Sepso for sure. That's
Yeah.
for sure.
Uh,
That people need
Jimmy
to
Nails.
understand. That's MLG, and
Yeah.
MLG is 2 decades strong, still going.
Yeah, we need some more industrial leader nominations. So, yeah. So, in a nutshell, that's all the categories. And with the time left, we can just discuss anyone in the chat or last words from Billy and TriForce.
Well,
Let me
I'll
just finish really quick by I was just going to say for
I'll let
those
I'll let Billy
on.
get the last word. So I'll let
Uh-oh,
Billy get. No,
I
he's
got some
good. He's
spikes
good.
for
He's better
No,
at closing. He just has it. He
Okay.
just is. So
but the point is, I can stay on with Todd.
Oh yeah,
TriForce. You're
TriForce,
you're the one who has to go to see your probation officer. I don't have to.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, he's running the stream. So yeah, no, I just want
he's gonna take his toys and go home.
yeah. I just really quick, I want to let everyone know to go to ivgof.info. I'll put it in the chat. Place your nominations tonight. You have till May 15th. You got another 6 days. And the award ceremony will be held in Schaumburg, Illinois at the Pinball Expo at the end of October. You can go to thepinballexpo.com for more information. I really appreciate Billy and TriForce's time on this, and for people in the chat. And at any time, you can see me on Facebook. You can go to the IVGHOF YouTube page or Facebook page and submit any questions or anything else.
We have 6 days. You say 6 days?
Yeah, May 15th is the deadline.
Should we do it one more time just before, on the 14th or 13th? And I don't know. Maybe we shouldn't.
We could see. Yeah, not a problem. And we could also TriForce. We can also send out the stream, right? It's recorded.
the stream is already cataloged on Twitch for Billy,
Oh,
and
it's cataloged and
it's
YouTube
already
too. Yeah.
it's auto cataloged on the IVGOF YouTube page. Like if you're
That's
looking
right.
at the screen right now, you see how it says live playing right now. So it's already
Yeah.
there. So it's gonna
Okay.
when we're done with the stream, it's gonna leave a VOD, a video on demand, so people can rewatch this
Yep.
entire thing. But I want to
Perfect. And we could share it. Okay.
yeah. So
Yep, go
just
ahead.
two things that I just want to go over, right? These two things are my most lasting impression. The very first thing, guys, people are listening to this, right? You may think that if you share this, the nomination process, that you may cut your guy out, but you have to look at this long term, right? The more people that get involved in the nomination process, the bigger the Hall of Fame grows. The bigger the Hall of Fame grows, which leads to my next point, the more slots can be created. We need more slots for each category so that we can the Hall of Fame will never catch up to every single person being inducted, but you can still make some significant gain within that time if we can get more categories. So that all depends on how many people want to partake in the International Video Game Hall of Fame. Subscribe to the YouTube page, guys. Go to the Facebook page. Leave your suggestions and stuff like that. Let it be known. Let the audience, if you guys speak, enough of you guys hit up the Hall of Fame with messages. Please make more categories. Please, the Hall of Fame will be more inclined to make the categories for you guys, so that each category we can get more people in. I don't like being stuck with the guilt of voting one person or game or individual in for a particular category, and the other person is just as deserved, doesn't get in. I won't feel as bad if we could do two or three because they all deserve, and then we can moderately catch up. Number two, the Community Action Award. Here's my suggestion for the Community Action Award. This would make a lot more sense, because then it will allow the International Video Game Hall of Fame to have a wider scope in terms of the world. And this is for you, Julie. The Community Action Award should have 4 slots for all 4 regions in the world. One for the Americas, one for the Asias, one for Europe, one for Africa. You do that, you can now start to catch all of the people globally that contributes to the community of gaming. That's just my input on that. So so that this way I won't feel bad, like for for Turkey not getting in when I'm picking someone from Africa because I worked with the person directly in the last 3 years. You see what I'm saying? So, but if you made it, if you broke it up into the community action awards for the Americas, this person for Africa, that person for the Europe, this person for the Asians, that person. Now you get to look between what's the name of this Japan and China, Korea, if they even allow you to look for that. And there's 54 countries in Africa, and only one can be selected. Then you have all of Europe as a whole, and then you have the Americas. So that's north to south, and you have to pick from. But at this one rate, you will never finish. There's at least 100 different community action awards for the people in America just for 1980 to 1990 alone. Never forget about 2000, forget about the 2010s, and now we're in the 2020s. We'll never make it. But if you kind of spread it out into regions, you can start getting other people in regions. And that's my take on that.
I don't know if there's any take left. That's pretty much a big take.
That was good. That was very good. Yeah. What's the last word there, Billy?
Okay, real quick. I look at this and I get frustrated every year. Really frustrated. Okay, there's a certain amount of people that are going to go in here. Okay, and there's so many that are going to get left out that it's so easy for me to look at it and get frustrated and feel the failure and be frustrated and not want to do it. And that's the greatest reason why you want to do it. What you do, it's like when you play a game. Every time you come up short, you have to embrace the fact that you failed, because what did you learn by it? As TriForce says, as Todd says, the Video Game Hall of Fame is going to continue to grow. It's going to learn. It's going to create the right categories. Okay, every Hall of Fame stumbled. Every Hall of Fame had to find its path. Okay, we're going to finish the Hall of Fame this year. And so many people that I mentioned, that everybody mentioned, okay, are going to come up short or they're going to fail. And you have to embrace that failure because you're going to learn from it. And it's because you embrace it, because you learn from it, is why you will ultimately succeed. We're all pushing forward. Okay, every single time we're going to get knocked down. We got to stand back up and we'll continue to find the right direction. So participate to the very best of your ability. Give every bit of knowledge and spirit you have to it. Okay, there's going to be a level of success, and then we know there's going to be a level where we have to learn more, push more, and develop more. That's how we're going to create the Hall of Fame that'll live long past all of us.
Well said. And on that note, I think we should end the stream here. And I want to thank you guys again for doing this. And I look forward to seeing all the nominations coming in this week. And definitely spread the word for everybody listening. So thank you, guys.
Always.
Thank you, guys. All right.
Thank
See
you.
you guys
We'll
later.
talk to everyone soon. Have a great night.
Good night,
All
and
right.
happy
Bye.
Mother's Day to all you ladies out there.
Yes, that is true. Adios.